All right, welcome everybody to the weight loss conversion, thyroid and hormones workshop. This is your host of the day, Hpa Archibald, and I am super excited and honored to be here with you all today. We got an amazing presenter today. Really excited about the content that we're going to be diving into and covering today. Yeah, really excited. So our speaker is Reagan Archibald. He is a multi-book author. Author of Never Stop Healing is his most recent book, and it is a must grab. So really exciting stuff there. And he's also the founder of East West Health and has created multiple ways for people to work with him through his Health Accelerator challenge courses and his Accelerate Wellness programs. And so really excited to hear from him over this 3-day challenge. So welcome, Reagan Archibald. How you doing, Reagan?
Great. And I appreciate the warm welcome, Kate. It's a beautiful day here. And today we've got a lot to talk about because I literally just finished a lab review with a patient, and I wish she was on this. She's listened to my podcast. She's actually read my book, and she's tried to do everything on her own. And unfortunately, what she learned is she said, I did Zumba for 15 months. I've been trying to eat well, and I just kept putting on weight. And she said, my hormones feel like they're crashing. My head felt like it was in a fog, and she could not pull herself out of this. And so what I told her, I said, well, look, this is a problem that you can't eat your way out of. You're not going to exercise yourself to health when you've got so many things broken in your body. And that's the unfortunate case that most people find themselves in, is they may watch an influencer on YouTube, and that's what she was doing. And she was like, well, I'm doing these ketogenic diets and I eat all these things. And she's a big fan of the medical medium. And I said, these things are all amazing, but unfortunately, you need to take it to the next step and actually start correcting the imbalances. And so she was somebody who now we said, hey, we've got some great ways that we can get you where you want to go in a third of the time of what it used to take us in the past. And so I'm going to share with you guys exactly the process we're taking her through, what we've taken thousands of people through. I'm going to share with you today what's the result of years of research, working with the world's best PhDs, regenerative medicine specialists, peptide specialists, hormone specialists. All these things are going to be uncovered today so that you can get your health back to where you want it. So I really appreciate you guys for joining. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. But what I learned today I'm so glad I was able to talk to each one of you, because I found that this particular patient, she waited too long. She let her body go. She can't take back those years that she spent feeling sick, having brain fog to the place where she would walk into Target. She explained she's walking into Target, doesn't even know why she's there or where she's at. And then her brain kicks back in. And it was a scary situation. So what we're going to do over these 3 days is we're going to show you how to unlock this healing potential in yourself so that you can have better health than you've ever had, better mental clarity. You can lose the weight you want to lose, even if you're over 50, like she was, even if you're over 60, over 70, we're going to show you the solutions. So thank you so much for being here. Feel free to plug in like, hey, I would love to get this out of the workshop today. And I'm happy to customize it based on what you've got going on. So Mark Twain, we all know Mark Twain. He said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So, Kate, guess what everyone's doing today? They're getting started.
Yeah, making it's one workshop at a time. You're one workshop closer to making some huge changes in your health.
Yeah, and it's such an honor to be able to share these things with you. And so what we're going to cover in these 3 days is, number one, we're going to show you how to quickly overcome the 3 barriers that lead to weight gain: inflammation, tiredness, and toxins, so that you can fit into your jeans again. I love it. We just had a patient yesterday who I was talking to, and he said, I had to buy all new jeans. He went from a waist size that was about a 46 to a 34, same waist size that he was in high school. So I was like, this is amazing. Day 2, we're going to show you the secrets of feeling your best by repairing long-term hormone damage that wears you down. So leaky gut, we're going to talk about gut health in day 2. And then day 3, we're going to talk about finding solutions to restore cardio and brain health by turning on this diminishing hormone for good. So one of my goals is to give you clarity, and that's our promise. Is if anything that we say, if you feel like we're not clear about it, we want to create a clear vision for you when it comes to your health, because I know you've got big goals. You wouldn't waste your time jumping into this workshop if you didn't have a brighter future in store for yourself. And so it's similar to the fly fisherman. I live in Midway, Utah, near the Provo River. And it's interesting because if you go fly fishing, there's this reflection off of the water and you can't see the fish. But you put on special polarized lenses, and that allows you to see into the water so you can actually know where to hook the fish. And so that's what we do with health. Unfortunately, most people go in blinded. They don't get the right test ran from their doctor. They're begging their doctor to run the right tests, or there's just not a care provider who actually takes the time to understand what's going on so that they run the right tests. And what we do is we get the right tests ordered, we get the right strategy, but we're going to show you how to create clarity in your health by putting on the right lens. So we're going to change your perspective when it comes to health. So the fact that you're here tells me you're someone who's in their 50s, maybe 60s, and you want to look and feel great, but you want clear direction. You're someone who's worked hard in your life and you want to enjoy it without the fear of developing heart disease, knee arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and dementia. Maybe you're looking to maximize the shape of your body, improve your skin, your hair, or your fitness levels. You might even be someone who does your own research and you know what doesn't work. I love working with people who've done their own research. I mentioned to this patient earlier, I said, I usually would not accept you into our program. I would refer you out to another clinic because she's somebody who has so many different complications going on. But because she was willing to make some changes, I said, all right, we're willing to keep you around and we're gonna see what changes we can make. But I gave her the caveat, if you're not willing to do the work on your own, we don't drag anybody through this. Health is a choice. And there's this thing called death by neglect that kills so many people in America. We have these diseases of affluence where we let things go. We don't take it seriously. We don't take it seriously when our hemoglobin A1C is high, or when we have cardiovascular markers and we could die from a heart attack. We don't take it seriously when our hormones are out of balance. We say, all my friends, their hormones are out of balance. What's the big deal? Well, we are a group of healthcare providers who really care about you. We care about you not just right now, but we're more concerned what the end result is in your life. We want you to live as healthy and free from disease as possible. Right now in America, chronic disease, on average, we've got 60% of Americans with one or more chronic diseases. Now that's disturbing because just by having one chronic disease, you're going to spend $11,000 more on healthcare every single year. So you may think that, oh, well, I've got great insurance, but what you're not realizing is it's the money that you're going to feed your insurance premiums and to pay for your copays, your office visits, your medication. It's very expensive. And so I want to work with people who are at that stage of life where they said, enough is enough. I'm not working on my health like this anymore. I'm actually going to get solutions. So this is not for people who don't want to find out what's going on. They're not interested in giving up on these limiting beliefs. That's who this is not for. So if you're looking for the next medication that's going to change things forever, it's probably not for you. So what I'm going to promise you today is we're going to show you how to convert body fat into energy. Now, maybe you're not here because you want to lose weight. Maybe you're here for autoimmunity or mitochondrial dysfunction or thyroid health. Well, I'm going to show you that if you can get your body metabolically flexible and you can start turning on 3 pathways, and David Sinclair in his book Lifespan talks about this. If we can get your mTOR and AMPK pathways activated and regulated, and then if we can get your sirtuin pathways rocking with NAD, your body is going to start healing itself. And then what we notice is when you start turning off the pathway called NNMT, then your body, instead of collecting more fat and storing it, your body starts burning that as an energy source. Number 2, we're going to show you how to increase muscle mass and mobility by activating growth hormone again. We're going to show you how growth hormone can help improve your bone density and balance. And by the way, having a fall and a hip fracture, losing balance as we age, these are some of the most dangerous things that can happen because of the amount of atrophy that happens in our muscles and our cardiovascular system. And it's a condition called sarcopenia. And so if you're not familiar with sarcopenia, plug it in, but we're going to correct the sarcopenia so that you have better bone density and better balance. Will help your skin, your hair, your body composition. And then our overall goal is to get rid of those risks of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and diabetes, which millions of Americans walk around with. Most of them don't even know. Half of people with diabetes, no clue. The patient that I just met with, she didn't have a clue that her hemoglobin A1C, her insulin levels were so far off. So these are some big things we're going to cover today. One of the other things we're going to do is offer each one of you a discounted rate to a consultation. And you'll also get a free copy of my book. So we've got 20. Kate, did we have 20 spots? I know a couple of those got taken up, but before we even launched. But Kate's the bookkeeper on that one.
Yeah, I think as of right now, looks like we do have. I think it's about 18 right now.
Perfect. So make sure that as we go through this, Kate will share a link later on in this presentation. If it feels like it's right for you, get on there and we're going to help you. So it gives you a chance to meet with me or one of our other experts. You'll also get a copy of my newest book, Never Stop Healing, The Unknown Shortcuts with Peptides for an Extraordinary Life. And so just to give you a little background on me, I think most of us know each other. So I feel like we're amongst friends here. So good to have you guys. But I'm the founder of East West Health. I'm a pain expert, regenerative medicine expert. I'm also a peptide expert. So one of the things I've been able to do is help people reclaim their health through the use of innovative medicines. So my background is in Chinese medicine, and you'll hear more about that. But what I've done is I've always looked at working with the world's leading doctors, PhDs, researchers, and bringing that into a comprehensive medical program where we have a team of medical providers from all different backgrounds working together so that you get the best possible care. I've got a podcast. It's now called Never Stop Healing. I've written several books like Your Health Transformation, Your Healthy Self. And so every day I wake up and I appreciate the fact that my life is built around helping people solve complex health problems so that they can get back to doing the things they love, like creating financial stability for themselves. I've helped a lot of patients who come to see us. They've been able to get back to work and been able to do more financially. I've also had patients come and they've told me, I have better relationships because of the work that I've done with you and your team. I just had a patient that she and her husband are from Israel, and they flew in and they said, look, I can't even tell you how blessed we've been since we started working with you, because now she's got her energy back so she can go back and doing her spiritual work. So there's so many things that have happened based on people taking action and doing something about their health. And so that's what we're going to share with you today. One of those patients is a patient of mine named Barbara. And she went from chubby and tired to fit and just on fire for life. And so she's 56. She came in because she was 30 pounds overweight. And I said, well, the big problem is not the weight. And I want people to get this out of their head. It's not the weight that's causing the problem. Because first of all, how many of you would like to lose some weight? And that's a big goal of yours. How many of you wouldn't mind, feeling a little more energetic, or, maybe even looking a little more energetic and having a better skin tone, things like that? Because these are all things that I told Barbara, I said, the weight's not the problem. The problem is the way that we're looking at the weight. And her weight was not something she could eat her way out of. What she realized is she's got to do something totally different, because she tried all the diets, she tried the specialists, she tried exercise routine. She felt like no one took the time to listen to her. She was completely inflamed. She was tired and inflamed. She was forcing herself to stay awake. Her body ached every time she moved it. And her doctors told her there's a good chance she's going to need a knee replacement soon. And unfortunately, every time she ran her labs, her doctor said, they're not that bad. I mean, there's some things we're going to watch, but it's not a big deal. But for Barbara, she said, I don't want to live this way. She had a headache. She craved sugar and fast food. Her digestive system was always sluggish. She was irritable. And then what she noticed, she pulled down her collar and she's like, look, you see all these things? She's wearing like a turtleneck. She said, these are skin tags, Reagan. I do not like these skin tags. And every year I get more and more of these. And she noticed she had sunspots. And I said, well, skin tags are insulin resistance. I don't know if you guys, how many of you have skin tags that you're concerned with? Because a lot of us, we just think, oh, I need to get it biopsied. I need to see a dermatologist. But what most doctors miss is the fact that skin tags come from insulin resistance. And so we had to correct her insulin levels, her blood sugar. And she just said, man, my personal life is affecting my professional life. And she thought if she wanted to stay employed, she was going to have to take a completely different path, because the path that the doctors had offered her were more medication. What she found online was more information, but information is not what we need more of. If we needed more information, then we'd all be healthy, right, Kate? I mean, there's a fire hydrant of information out there.
Oh yes, there's lots and lots of information.
And I think that's the dangerous thing, is sometimes it's that misinformation that derails us. And so what Barbara said is we've got to take the right path. So I let her know there's no silver bullets. I said, but the very first thing we've got to do is remove the cause. And so the way we looked at it is we said, the only way we can remove the cause is we've got to get rid of the inflammation, the biotoxins, which create mitochondrial cell danger response. We've got to correct your hormones, peptides, and nutritional deficiencies. And so she jumped right in. And the very first thing we looked at is in the program is we ran her metabolomics. And so we looked at 5 core markers. We looked at oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, the fatty acid profile, toxic exposures, and then methylation imbalance. And methylation just shows the way that the cells utilize nutrients. So we went upstream. And what we found is that she had several deficiencies that needed to be corrected in the fatty acid profile. And once we got her omega-3, omega-6, omega-9 fatty acid balance regulated, suddenly she noticed my brain feels so much better. And it was amazing. We also got rid of the biotoxins. Not only did she have heavy metals that were getting in the way of her healing, but she had mold toxicity. And it went back 10 years ago. She also had some viral infections that were interfering with her body's ability to produce the hormones that she needed. And so we got her on the energy reset, one of our curriculums, because every patient who comes in, we give you homework. And then we got her on one of the peptides called 5-amino-1-MQ that turns off that NNMT pathway so that she can utilize fats for energy. And so 5-amino-1-MQ has been studied extensively, and there's multiple peptides that we use through the program, but that one seemed to make a big difference for her. What happened to her within just a few short months? She said, I've got twice the energy. I'm outlasting my grandkids. She's pain-free, no more threat of a total knee replacement. She's got mental clarity, no more anxiety and brain fog. And then she's got more freedom and can move towards bigger goals. And then she didn't have the thyroid fluctuations. And so this was a transformation in her life that gave her years back onto her life. And so we put some health back into her years and years onto her life, and she's never been happier. So I know many of you are thinking, well, I can't make the changes she did. Well, it was a step-by-step process. And yes, she had to make some changes, but you can too. Many of you may be thinking, I've already had testing and it didn't help. Well, even if you've ran metabolomics, there's other tests that we may want to run for you. Or even if you've done heavy metal testing or looked at all your hormones, there's a different way that we can look at that, and we'll give you a second opinion. That's part of what we do. Maybe you'd say, well, why didn't my doctor recommend peptide therapy? You seem so excited about it, Reagan. Well, a lot of doctors have never taken the time to devote themselves to learning some of the innovations that happen in medicine. And unfortunately, what the research shows is that most medical clinics are about 17 to 25 years behind the research. So we pride ourselves on the thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars we spent building these programs over 10 years to have the best researchers at our fingertips. And Kate, we just hosted an event for our Go Wellness community, and we had some of the world's leading PhDs, MDs, I mean, people from the functional medicine world, pretty phenomenal last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had just some incredible speakers and people that are doing some amazing things in the healthcare space right now.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. And things are always, we're refreshing, we're making things new, but we're always looking at leaning into the science. And so some of the new peptides that we were able to cover was the semaglutide, and using that with some of the mitochondrial derived peptides. Just amazing to see what research has been done. So the three keys that each one of you need to succeed. Number one, you've got to analyze what's going wrong in your body. You know, a lot of us, maybe you're an accountant or you're somebody who looks at finances, and you know that there's no way of helping things improve until you actually analyze, well, what are we spending and what money's coming in? And it's the same thing with health. What's coming in that's causing your body's health to diminish? And what do you need to get rid of? And then what do you need to put in that's actually going to replenish your energy? Number two, once we've done that, once we've analyzed where the damage is in your body, is it hormones? Is it gut? Do you have infections? Is there biotoxins? Is there heavy metals, mold toxicity? Once we've analyzed that, then we can optimize those pathways. And then now that you're optimized by recharging the DNA, activating detoxification, and rebooting your mitochondria, that's when the transformation occurs. And at the core of health is energy. So your energy levels and that vitality that you feel, that's when you know your body's on the right track. And so I'm going to show you how to get there today. And so a lot of you have many different issues when it comes to, DNA, cell danger response, mitochondria, hormones, thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones. We're going to show you exactly how to cover those. So we do that by three simple steps. Number one, we've got to reset your stress response, the HPA axis. Cade, would you say stress levels are at an all-time high? Have you ever seen so many people on edge? We got crazy infections, and then we got wars and media, and
Yeah, everyone's on very high alert. So stress is rampant. Yeah, anxiety, depression. People have been it's a stressful time.
It's a very stressful time. And so the very first thing we've got to do is get your body out of this stress response. And HPA, for those of you who don't know what that means hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals. So that, you know how you feel the emotion when you get stressed? Some people feel it in their stomach. Some of you feel it in your head. Some of you feel it in your chest. Where do you feel your stress? Because we've got to alleviate that. The second thing we've got to do is correct the gut. And this is where some of the things like cold exposure, certain exercises you can do. And of course, diet is a big part of it. And then the third thing is, if you don't fix the insulin resistance, insulin is such a powerful hormone. And so many of you are walking around having this hormone dysregulated and your blood sugar going all over the place, that if that doesn't get fixed, nothing in your body will get fixed. And so what we're going to do today is give you some options and show you how to actually correct this. And so, Kate, do we have any questions coming in before we launch in?
Yeah. So Susie, we have a few things, or a few people just saying what their main goals are. So I want to fix my thyroid without man-made medicine or radiation, and biopsies if possible. I have high TSH.
It's probably TSH.
Okay. And was said to be hyperthyroidism.
Okay. So
maybe low TSH and
sure.
Hyper, one or the other. But yeah, so we got a few people on here with thyroid, wanting to lose weight, and then there's some with even digestive issues.
Okay, great. So we'll cover all that today. And so number one, if you've got thyroid issues, you've got to look at the toxins, because your thyroid gland is very sensitive to toxins from chloride, like that's your bleach, your cleaners, bromine, which is bromine's one of the preservatives. So that new car smell, that's bromine. And then fluoride. Fluoride's in water sources. I'm going to share with you some studies on that. For those of you who want to lose weight, you've got to fix the insulin resistance, because insulin is such a powerful hormone. If you can't get the energy into the cells, your cells go into a cell danger response. And that's what we find why most people go into this crisis mode. So we'll cover all that today. So let's jump in. So first of all, if you had a goldfish and the goldfish you started noticing didn't have the same vitality, it wasn't swimming as much, the color on your goldfish looked rough. Number one, you could say, well, let's medicate the goldfish. And it's kind of like Susie said, let's medicate it, or let's take some paint out and paint it gold and then put it back in the water. Or theory number two, you could take the fish and say, well, the fish is sick, it's not swimming well. Why don't we clean out the environment first? Let's clean the tank. Let's give the fish some new food that's healthy. Let's give the fish some sunlight. Let's put him in an environment that he's thriving in. And then suddenly you see the fish start to thrive. So what we do in our bodies is, in medicine, we treat everything as if it's a crisis and we throw a medication at it. Now, we're not opposed to you being on medication by any means. If you have an infection, bacterial infection, need an antibiotic, by all means, that can be life-saving. But unfortunately, what we're doing is we're taking a disease like hypertension or diabetes and we're just throwing medication at it, but not really fixing the root cause. Because I ask patients this all the time: if you stop taking your hypertensive medication, what happens to your blood pressure? They say, well, it goes up. I said, okay, well, so that means the problem's not taken care of. Yes, we may be mitigating you having a stroke with the medication, but at the root cause, we've got to get that figured out. And so that's theory number two, is putting a system in place where you can actually start correcting the imbalance. So the major medical model right now is built around treating symptoms. It's drugs and surgery. It's a one size fits all. It's very reactive. It emphasizes genetic predispositions. While it's in your genes, Cade, you're just going to be diabetic. You're just going to have heart disease. You're going to be overweight, or it's extremely expensive. If you think about the medical costs just from having a heart attack, if you have a cardiovascular event, what most people are spending every year is an additional $15,000 on their health. If you have another condition called diabetes, that's another $14,000 a year in health. So what we want to do in the new model of health is we focus on cause, prevention, and performance. So we're not just interested in helping you limp along until you die. We really want to maximize what you're doing. We look at lifestyle changes, cellular healing, detoxification, and then we make plans that are customized and personalized. You have a proactive team, holistic team, and it emphasizes epigenetic control, or doing the things that are out, that are within your control. And our programs, they save people money in the long run. So much money that they have better energy so they can produce more money, but they save money on those future diseases that can be detrimental, because the number one cause of bankruptcy in America are due to healthcare expenses. So what we want to do is create a better system for you. So let's talk about that. But before we jump in, why does health matter to you? And Kate, this is a question that we ask people to consider, right?
Yeah.
Would you say, Kate, when you feel healthy, and you're a healthy dude, but what happens to your relationships when you're not healthy?
They're a lot more challenging, a lot less present, less enjoyable and irritable to be around. It's just, yeah, it's not enjoyable for, your friends, loved ones, and the relationship that you have, but it's also, it's not enjoyable for the individual either.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because you think about when you've been, you've had brain fog, for example. Someone's having a conversation with you and you're like, I don't even remember what you said. What'd you ask me? And, you go on tangents and, it's rough. You think of self-confidence when we're not at our ideal weight. We start second guessing ourselves and we think, oh man, they're all looking at me, or even if you don't have healthy knees and healthy joints, if you're in pain all the time, you're not confident to go on a hike. The other thing that with health is it generates financial stability, because some of the research shows that healthy people are 300 to 500 times more productive than people who aren't healthy. And so for you, if you're like, man, well, I'm going to get healthy as soon as I have financial stability, you're looking at it the wrong way. Because what we've got to do is first, you've got to get yourself healthy, and then you have the opportunities. Being healthy creates peace of mind. There's nothing worse than, having your heart feel like it's going to beat out of your chest, or feeling like you're doomed to living a life that's poor energy. And then it creates a better future for yourself and for others when you have this connection to why you're healthy. And so as we go through this, I'm going to tell you.
I like what Dean said. Dean said, health is wealth. Beautifully said, Dean.
Man, I love that. Yeah, there's no question about it. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about two major conditions. Today, we're going to talk about insulin resistance. In the Accelerate program, we're going to show you the research we've done on this. And then the second thing I'm going to show you is thyroid and how thyroid impacts your weight gain. So let's jump in. So this is just introducing how to reclaim your health in the next 3 days. I'm going to show you this method. So it's built around different processes of healing. We go through reset, recharge, restore, and reclaim. And we're going to talk about all this today. So number one, if we want to balance your body, we've got to reset what's called the Hpa axis. Anytime your blood sugar is dysregulated, this impacts the way that your brain and your digestive system interact, and it creates more stress. So one of the biggest interferences that causes Hpa axis dysregulation is a condition called insulin resistance. So answer this question. Do you have more fat around your belly than you like? Do you have high blood pressure or a family history of heart disease? Do you have high levels of blood triglycerides? Do you retain water easily? Do you have patches of darker colored skin or little bumps of skin called skin tags at your neck or your armpits? Do you have polycystic ovarian syndrome or erectile dysfunction? Do you have a family member with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes? Because if you answered yes to any of these, then you've got insulin resistance. And this is the work done by Benjamin Bickman. He's a PhD here in Utah, out of BYU, and he's done some phenomenal work in a book called Why We Get Sick. So having insulin resistance, what it does is it creates this craving, and it's a vicious cycle where our bodies get more and more inflamed, and we want more and more sugar because it's an energy crisis. Insulin, remember, carries energy into the cells and nutrients. Without insulin, the cells don't get fed, and it puts your body in a dangerous place, and it creates a lot of habit-forming issues. Insulin resistance causes hypertension as well. And so that's because what happens is your blood vessels get damaged every time the insulin spikes and drops. So one of the very first things we're going to ask you to do right now in this reset is we're going to ask you to stop eating junk food, stop eating drinks that have sugar in them or artificial sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and start getting rid of that sugar. So that's it. And alcohol is a sugar. So get rid of that 100%. Anything with more than 1 gram of sugar is too much. So that's challenge number one. I'm going to give you 2 challenges today. The next thing we're going to talk about is thyroid hormones. So how many of you, first of all, had some insulin resistance that showed up? And maybe you don't want to raise your hands. You want more privacy, and that's totally fine. But how many of you are like, man, I've got some more fat around my belly than I'd like. I've got high blood pressure, or I retain water. I've got skin tags. These are weird. So, all right, so let's talk about thyroid. Okay, so thyroid is so important because you can miss it. And the thyroid goes under the radar because you can have your labs ran and your doctor will say, well, TSH looks pretty good. T4 looks good. You're off the hook. But we want to run a much more comprehensive thyroid panel. So even if you've been told you have a healthy thyroid or you've been told you don't have diabetes, there's still some things that are going to creep up before it will show up in a lab. And so the thyroid hormone, first of all, every single cell in your body is primed to take in thyroid hormone. So you have receptors on every cell. So your brain is full of thyroid hormone when you have a healthy brain. When you don't have a healthy brain, the thyroid is not there in the brain, because what the thyroid does is it turns on the mitochondria, which in turn regulate the ATP production, and that's what turns over metabolism. So if you want healthy metabolism, if you want youthful hormones, you've got to have a healthy thyroid. Some of the thyroid signs that will show up is if you have digestive challenges, mood issues, unexplained weight fluctuations, skin problems, like dry skin, shedding skin, difficulty dealing with temperature changes, either too hot or too cold. You never feel comfortable. Changes in your vision, hair loss, memory problems, brittle nails. Look at your nails right now. Do they have little white spots? Are they jagged? Do they have cracks in them? These are thyroid issues. Do you have trouble sleeping, tiredness and fatigue, difficulty concentrating, weight gain, dry skin and hair, depression, frequent or heavy periods, joint or muscle pain? These all relate to the thyroid. So these are pretty big issues that need to be corrected. So how many of you have ever had an in-depth look at your thyroid? Because the thyroid is so important. It regulates your strength, your nervous system, your heart rate, your breathing, your stress levels, your cholesterol, metabolism. Everything is regulated by your thyroid. But the problem with most of us is the thyroid hormone. Just by taking thyroid hormone, the problem isn't fixed, because you have to convert the thyroid hormone T4 into a smaller version called T3 in your liver. So if your liver's not working well, or if your gut's not working well, your thyroid's not going to work well. So one of the things that interferes with your thyroid health is fluorinated water. So fluorinated water, Kate, do you remember this study? I shared this at Go Wellness.
Yeah. Fluorinated water is horrible for the thyroid. Just going to cause, you're pretty much putting yourself into thyroid stress just by drinking a little bit of thyroid water every day, right?
It's crazy. So what they found is in this study, and this was in February of 2018, published in Scientific Reports, they found that the elevated fluoride from drinking water impacts T3, T4, and TSH just by drinking this for a week. And so that's what they found, is it induces hypothyroidism. So your second challenge is to get purified water. It's really critical for healthy thyroid function. And then the second thing on the thyroid is you want to start looking at the thyroid as a whole, because 90% of females who have hypothyroidism, they also have autoimmunity in their thyroid. And so this is where looking at your thyroid peroxidase antibodies, your thyroid globulin antibodies, these are going to be critical markers to understand what's going on in your thyroid. Is it hyperthyroid or hypo? These are all critical things. And so one of the very first things we do to reset this HPA axis and to activate the youth hormones in the thyroid is we use different peptides. Epitalin is one of those peptides that's been studied extensively on its balancing of the HPA axis. This also calms down any type of elevated cholesterol in the body. It's been shown to be helpful for cardiovascular health. And then epitalin also helps increase your telomeres. So it's known as a telomerase enzyme. Selenk is a nasal spray that calms the inflamed brain. It's also antimicrobial, and it resets the serotonin, because so many of our thyroid patients have low levels of dopamine, low levels of serotonin. And then we may use Cmax as a nootropic to increase the memory and repair the neurons. So that's some of the most important things. So here's one of our patients who had a thyroid issue. Her name's Tara. She's 51, completely fatigued, and she had brain fog. She had insulin resistance and digestive issues. She was so tired, and her fatigue was so suppressive, she couldn't wake up in the morning. Her legs and head, I remember her telling me, she said, it just feels like there's concrete in my legs and concrete in my head. And she was forced to work part-time, and her bills were building up. She had a lot of things owed. Her medication seemed to be the only answer. And the medications, they worked temporarily. And then within a couple of weeks, she'd go into being wired, or she'd be super tired, wired, tired. She'd take more levothyroxine, and it just didn't seem to be cutting it. And so she got very, very depressed. What she found is she was super toxic. And one of the things she noticed is that she gained over 60 pounds in 3 years. She was very inflamed. She was depressed. She was anxious. And Tara started to use food for comfort. And especially when she cut her work down to part-time, it was like the finances were making things 10 times worse. And so she felt like, man, there's no way I can ever get out of this. But what she realized is she said, man, I've got to stop treating my symptoms of the thyroid. What I'm doing is not working. I need to find a different answer. I need to go down a different path. And so what she did is she came in and we ran all of the thyroid markers on her. And interestingly enough, we found that she did, in fact, have some of these markers that showed an elevation in antibodies. And we found that her thyroid wasn't performing well from a thyroid perspective, but it also related to her immune system and her gut. And we got her on the right peptides. We enrolled her in our curriculum, in our thyroid hormone and immune system reset. And what happened to her is a complete transformation. She said, great news. And this is her, she reached out to us just a couple of months ago. She said, I've lost 45 pounds. I've cut my thyroid medication in half, and my endocrinologist is shocked because my thyroid peroxidase antibodies are down 600 points. I've been able to work full time and pick up extra shifts. I've made 70,000 more this year than I did last year. My investment has paid off 10 times already. Thank you, East West. So she's super grateful because she's able to get her life back. And once again, she had two choices. She could keep throwing medications at the problem and hope that the fish, suddenly got healthy in this toxic environment, or she could clean up all those biotoxins, those interferences, the things that were getting in the way of her thyroid functioning properly, and then she could start to thrive. And so that's the choice that she made. So everything that we look at when it comes to your health, we want to focus on getting a result in your health that's going to be residual. So, in Tara's case, we hadn't heard from her in about 6 months. And she said, man, I'm doing better than ever. Look at this. And in 2021, I made $70,000 more than I did the year before. And I'm feeling better. I'm looking better. My life is now in my control. And we do what we do because we love seeing those stories. We love hearing people make the transformations because of the commitment, because they know their body can heal. And what we want to do now is, Cade, before I shift gears, are there any other questions that I can answer for anybody? Because I know we're coming to the end here.
No, I think you've handled most of them. I've been responding in the chat box as well, but yeah, you doing great. Covered them all. There just some things on thyroid and doing great.
Okay, so I think now that you're here, I think we can all agree that, hopefully you've seen that in both Barbara's case, Tara's case, inflammation, interferences, and toxins are what get in the way. And so hopefully by now you're open-minded to the fact that there might be some new opportunities for you once we get the right testing going, the right therapies, and the right lifestyle changes. And so I think you also would agree that you're tired of prolonging the feeling and looking your best, and you want to take the most productive and effective route possible. So hopefully today I've added some value. I've given you some clarity in your life and in your health journey. But our overall goal is we want to practice a style of medicine and healthcare that gets you residual results. Most of you, the results that come from practicing more of a conventional model has been results that ended up in more medication, more sickness, more chronic disease, and it hasn't done anything to transform your body's overall health. And so our promise to you is we're going to work on every single pathway. And once we turn on those right genetic expressions, then your body starts producing health on its own, because we're going to show your body how to generate health. And that's what we do. So for those of you who have enjoyed this and you say, look, I'm ready to do something different about my health, what I'm going to do is offer you an exclusive opportunity that I don't want you to miss out on. I want you to be able to take your health and put it in your own hands. And we can do that as we sit down and meet with you. So for those of you who want to take this to the next level, imagine if we just stopped it here and we said, well, we'll see you tomorrow. But imagine if there was nothing that we could do to actually get together and talk to you about your major health conditions. So that's what I want to do right now, is just spend a few minutes to show you a pathway that can get you to meet with the right experts at the right time, people who can change your life. So the next step in this, very first thing is we need to have you sit down and meet with us one-on-one. What we're going to do is go through a complete health history and evaluation. We're going to look at all your hormones, your peptide and cardio-inflammatory risks. And the typical cost to sit down with us and spend an hour of our time is $287. Now, this time is some of the most well-spent time that you're ever going to have. If you have labs that you've had ran, we'll be able to go through those with you. If you're someone who's already been in, but it's been a while, well, you want to take advantage of this, because what we want to do is, once we've uncovered everything that's going on in your health, we want to find out if we can help you accelerate your pathway to a bigger, brighter future. And so today you're going to have two choices. First of all, those of you who sign up today, and once again, we have 20 spots that we've reserved. We had 2 people call in just before this because they couldn't make it, and they said, hey, I want to take advantage, and I want to do something about my health. But for those of you who are ready to take the next step, you'll get enrolled into our Health Accelerator curriculum. It's a $500 value. And the other thing you're going to get is a front row seat. So you're going to have the chance to get a copy of my newest book, and I'll share that with you. So I know there can be hesitancy when you do something new. This is what happened to me at a Michael Burnoff event, where I was working on my mindsets. And at the very end, this is like 2 a.m. and one of the initial, like a rite of passage to show that that you're willing to do something bigger in your life. You're not going to let fear override your body's and your mind's best judgment. I had to lean into this arrow and break it. So, Cade, you know how thin that trachea is. I put this sharp arrow against it, and Cade knows Michael Burnoff, amazing guy. And as I leaned into that, I was like, if I hesitate, it's going to go right through my trachea, and that's not going to end well. But I got my confidence up, and I pushed through that resistance, and I snapped that arrow, because I know a lot of you right now, you're really thinking, you're asking yourselves, man, am I really ready to take the next step when it comes to my health? Do I want to find out if I have insulin resistance or thyroid issues? Do I want to just bury my head in the sand? Do I want to wait longer? Do I want to hope that these appointments are available for day 2 or day 3? Many of you are hesitating right now. And I'm just going to tell you that if you're ready to take the next step in your health, we've got an amazing opportunity for you today. Now, the cool thing about this is you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose, because we do have 100% clarity guarantee. If for any reason you find that the time that you spend with us is not valuable and you do not get your money's worth, we will refund you 100% of the cost that you invested into this initial consultation. The other thing we're doing today is, because I care about this community and I care about your health, what we're doing is we're removing $200 off this initial consultation fee. And so your cost is just $87 today. And so remember, we do have limited availability. And what we're going to do now is Cade will post a link in the chat box so that you can go and choose the time that you want. And we've made it very simple. Once again, there's no risk for you. You'll get the free bonuses for everyone who signs up today. And we're also going to send you a copy of my brand new book. So I know many of you may have questions, but Cade, maybe I'll let you take it from here and talk a little bit about kind of maybe what questions people have in their mind, and if you think they should do this or not.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Reagan, and amazing content. I know you got to get to some patients here in a minute. So thank you so much for joining and putting this amazing content together. So if you guys haven't had a chance yet, there's 2 different links posted. One of the links will go to a kind of a summary page. It'll also have some previous recordings from our past 3-day challenges, so you can kind of have some reference points. And then you'll have a link that'll take you to the scheduling link. But click on that scheduling link. It's really easy to find a time that'll work for you. And we're already down to, I think I counted 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are down to 10 appointments available that we have set aside for you guys. And so go and schedule that. it's a huge, huge discount. But some typical questions we'll get is how long's your program, or how long does it really take to start getting results?
And Kate, I'm sorry, they're letting me know my next patient's here. And so I'm going to just duck out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you in the clinic. I'm working hard for you guys every single day. You can do this. Get on there. I know things are filling up, but take advantage of it today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Kate. Sorry for
awesome.
the off.
Thank you so much, Reagan. Awesome. So some of the typical questions that we'll get is timeline. We did have a question: does it include initial lab testing? No, this is, we block off a full hour on our provider schedule. And so the cost of this, it doesn't even cover the time spent with the provider, but it is, we are getting expertise, their expertise, and really diving in the research behind your case. We'll be getting some data from the paperwork that we'll send you, along with any resources there. So it looks like we have another thing. Yeah, and another concern or question is cost. How much does it cost? You're probably aware at this point, your insurance isn't going to cover a program like this, or a treatment strategy like this, because it's not your standard medical care. This is an innovative root cause healing that's done through peptide therapies, through specific things that we're getting through our extensive labs that are typically outside of your traditional medicine. There's definitely an investment, and that's how you have to look at it. We've worked with people on fixed income, Social Security, disability, and we've always been able to, almost always been able to find a payment plan that works for them, or a way to fit it in the budget. And so, if you're worried about the finances or the investment of something like this, it is going to be an investment. But I think if you can just imagine yourself, 2 or 3 years from now, having better energy, having, just being able to do the things that you enjoy and love, and having an active life. That's really what we are all about here, and what we're able to do for our patients. Just to give you a little background on me, I'm not a provider. I kind of help host these special events because I love spreading the word of health. And to go back to the timeline of how long this takes, my story. So this is about almost 10 years ago. I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. I was flatlined on energy. I'd get home from work, couldn't play with my kids, and just felt pretty miserable. I reached out to my brother, Reagan. Yes, Reagan is my brother. And I reached out to him because I thought, hey, maybe he'll be able to help me. I'd been trying everything from specific diets, nutrition. I was doing some crazy exercises. I was doing different CrossFit and all these different exercises and diets, and I could not lose weight, and I couldn't get my energy back. And my brain was just out of whack. It was foggy. And so he took me through one of our programs, did some specific testing, really dialed in, what I was putting into my body, as well as getting my detox pathways and systems working appropriately. And through that and some other peptide therapies, I went through a complete transformation. In 90 days, I had lost 30 pounds and my energy was back. My brain was online. I was like on fire. And then from there, it was about 9 months through the whole process where I lost a total of 50 pounds. I felt alive. I felt so much better and reinvigorated. And it was so exciting. And then since then, I got really interested in and intrigued with more functional medicine based treatment strategies, and I got into some different health coaching programs, and loved looking at how your labs and physiology can be impacted more by lifestyle, specific nutrition, and these peptide therapies as opposed to just traditional medicine. And that's really what got me into this. And so my life was changed dramatically by Reagan, just to get my health to a much higher level. And now I'm still working. He's got this book, Never Stop Healing, and I continue to work on my health and continue to feel better, have more energy, and feel better than I ever did in my 20s. And it's extremely exciting, and we love to be able to help people with this. And so if you're on the fence, if you're like, well, I don't think this is for me, or or maybe you're just wondering if we can even help you. Obviously, we have a money back guarantee. If we find out that there's no way we can help you, we'll gladly return that money. There's really, it's completely risk-free for you. But we have helped so many people with just these chronic conditions, whether it's thyroid or you just have tried so many things to resolve your health and you still feel stuck. We've helped thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people get their health back online and in order and headed in the right direction. So I really appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to be back. We love doing these 3-day challenges. Gives you guys an opportunity to learn and grow from us, and hoping that we can help you along that way. And then obviously get signed up for your consultation. A huge $200 discount on that. So it's only $87. Grab an appointment before they get taken up. Love you so much and appreciate you. And we'll see you guys back here tomorrow, same time, same place. And you guys have a great day. We'll see you then.